cloud. And so welcome to our third edition of our March Meetup Organizers Roundtable. And so my name is Birgit Pauli-Haack, and I'm your MC for the next hour. And I'm a deputy on the WordPress Global Community Team and a Meetup organizer in Southwest Florida. With me today are Drewien from Meetup Atlanta, Georgia, Dreb from the Meetup Davao in Philippines. Davao, is that how I pronounce it? Yeah. Tim Drew from the Meetup in Tampa and St. Petersburg in the US. The goal of these video chats is to give WordPress Meetpress, I like that, WordPress organizers around the world a forum to discuss ideas and challenges that arise while organizing WordPress meetups, to get answers and questions, just to hang out with fellow organizers. Also this month, the community team reaches out to organizers of dormant groups and find ways to revitalize the groups with any support we can give. There's one more roundtable left in this series. It's going to be on Wednesday, 28th, again at 16 UTC. We are also recording the chats as a resource for those organizers who can't be with us in person. They are available on YouTube, and I published the links to it in the Make blog that announced the roundtables. So in collaboration with my co-hosts from the four, then I will write a post on our Make blog so we can discuss what to do next with it. And I have in the chat window, you see a link. That's for the session evaluation. And we will ask anybody who either listens to it live with us today or listens to it on the YouTube channel to fill this out and let us know what you think about it. So before we start on today's topic, how many people are there? That's us, right? Okay, yeah. So before we head into the topic, let's go around the room and just introduce yourself with a full name, of which you already did. But what is it that excites you most about the WordPress community? Kathy, you want to start?
I will start because I was just getting ready to mute my microphone. The thing that excites me most about the community are the people of the community. I live and breathe people. The deeper the relationship, the better for me. And I love to talk. And if you get Jim and I in the same room at the same time, you're in trouble. I just love everything about the community. I like the authenticity of it. I like the transparency. I like the generosity of the community. There is a warmth that is brought to every conversation that I treasure.
Excellent.
That's enough for me at the moment.
Dreb, what do you think? What's it for you?
What excites me the most about the community is because we are diverse, we are inclusive, and we are like flexible when it comes to and open and diverse when it comes to we can like mingle with different cultures. For example, you can go and participate in different WordCamps, and I always. I'm so happy, and it's a very ecstatic moment to join WordCamps like in different countries, because that's when I join WordCamp, it feels like I'm not a stranger, because WordCamps is like you belong in a community where you haven't set foot yet. Like this is, for example, my first WordCamp is in Singapore, and that's also my first time in Singapore. And when I joined the WordCamp, and it's just happened in a second that you feel like at home, you feel like you're not a stranger anymore. So I want to bring that vibe, that openness, that closeness to my local community here in Davao. So that's why I started organizing a meetup here in our local town, and kind of bring them the experience that I kind of get out of this traveling the world, participating WordCamp, doing some talks, listening to people of how they do about WordPress and how WordPress impacted their life. And it's so inspiring to know. It's so inspiring to know how those people, I mean, the lives that the WordPress changed, like over the course of like over a decade of the WordPress. So and I'm so thankful being in this community, and yeah, I'm looking forward to having more time in the community as well.
All right, and Jim, what is it about you? How long have you been in the WordPress community active?
I've been active in the WordPress community since about probably 2013, and I've been in meetups in the local area since 2015, I think was my first one, then all the way through 2016. We're still active, so we're still going. And Kathy and Dreb both stole most of my answers, but I feel the same way. It's like when I went to my very first WordCamp, I immediately felt at home because I didn't know anybody, but we've all been in the exact same spot. We've all been looking at that screen going, okay, where do I start? We've all had the same questions. We've all started from that same spot. So we all get that. And that's the one thing that I think communicates us with that strange little line behind it all. And we can all do so much with WordPress. You can do, profit stuff. You can do profit stuff. You can do personal stuff. It doesn't matter. It's amazing what you're able to do with the resources available at this incredibly open and friendly community. So I love it.
Yeah. So, well, let's go right into our topic, which is how to promote the WordPress meetups and how to cross-post in the community. So how do you market your meetup? Who wants to start?
I can start. My mic is still mute, so I'll kick mine off. We have a Facebook group that we have specifically for the entire Tampa Bay region, and we invite folks to that. It's automatic opening as long as they're in Tampa Bay, or if you're another WordCamp that wants to promote. And
you can do this with Facebook, that somebody is from the region, they are automatically?
No, we have a little questionnaire, and then we approve them based on what they answer. Because we've had some spam posts pop through, and we've had to like kick them out. The bots and stuff like that. So we've had to be pretty careful on those. Okay. But we always let other WordCamps promote also as well inside our group, and we post our meetups when they're announced on Meetup. We immediately do another post on the Facebook group. We also do one like the week of the meetup, and then right after the meetup we promote the next one. And then we kind of like, that's kind of how I do. I do like 3, and they usually hits just enough of the window to make sure that we get enough attendance. Mm-hmm. We do a Twitter post, I think, automatically from Facebook or the other way around. I'm not sure which, but it gets on there. I don't really care about the Twitter that much as I do about the Facebook, because that gets the main group. And we do an announcement through Meetup, and that's our primary ways of cross-promoting.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Dreb? How about you do in Philippines?
Yeah. So So we still do manual posting on the meetup.com when we organize a meetup, and then there's another volunteer who will cross post the said event on the Facebook group, because most of our members are super active in Facebook, so we don't want them to have another effort to look in the meetup. So it's for a wider discoverability. So there's another volunteer to post that sometimes they volunteer their time to, hey, I would like to cross post the event on Facebook. Yeah, go ahead. And if they don't have much time, I also do it on my own. So and then we also have a nationwide WordPress group. So it's like it's like a nationwide Facebook group. So that they help us promote and cross post the event as well, so that it will reach the nationwide population of the WordPress users. So for example, whenever they are in Manila, and then they will travel in Davao around the time that we'll have an event or the meetup, then that's perfect. They can attend the WordPress meetup around that time as well. So aside from that, I think that's pretty much some stuff. And we also have a blog as well. Okay. So in the blog, of course, yeah, and a WordPress blog. In a blog, we're trying hard to keep it up to date. And for example, and we include everybody, and we encourage everybody to read our blog as well. So whenever there's a planning going on, and then there's what's the new schedule that we need to do, and the topics, we try hard to come up a blog post about that and post it on our blog as well, and then copy the link of the blog and post it on our Facebook group and also on meetup.com and our social media accounts. Yeah.
Okay. So, and Cassie, what's happening in Atlanta with promotion and, I don't know, 15 other meetups around Atlanta?
Well, I'm feeling a little bit lazy compared to Jim and Dreb. To my knowledge, there's nobody in the Atlanta meetup community who is promoting on Facebook or Twitter or any social media. But I've discovered through my travels to other states that Atlanta is a little bit unique in that we have no less than 6 chapter programs, as well as some, I'll call them independent, non-chapter meetup groups. But we are such a tight-knit community that our promotion happens probably internally more so than externally. For example, when somebody attends a meetup group in Marietta that I'm facilitating, I say, okay, picture a calendar, you can come to this one on the 1st and 3rd Thursday, and those are the topics, and they're facilitated by, I'm 2nd Tuesday, Brad is 3rd Wednesday, and you can come to a WordPress meetup group every single week in the Atlanta area. One of the things that we do for the non-chapter meetups, because they still kind of want to keep their independence, is they publish their topic on underneath my meetup group, so that it will then appear in the WordPress dashboard.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
which
they get the benefit of all of it.
Yes, and because there's no divisiveness in our community, all of these meetup organizers are also part of the WordCamp organizing team. So we are WordPress friends, we're personal friends, we are Southern hospitality at its finest.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So have you seen any uptick from the posting on the dashboard?
Absolutely, and that's true all across the board in our meetups, to the point where we've started asking at the beginning of each meetup, how did you hear about us? And there's a show of hands that it came from that dashboard. Every single meetup all across town, we can attest to that. So that's the best thing we've come up with for the dashboard in ages. And I see nodding of heads, so I assume that's true for other people as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. The dashboard widget has completely boosted our meetup quite a bit. We had probably at least 40% of the people, once that started launching, we had 40% of the people coming that were just coming because they saw it there.
Yeah, we had an uptick too. It was especially in membership, yeah. So people sign up to be a member of the WordPress meetup, so they get all the notification. But we have not yet seen a total uptick on the attendance. But that might be just our area, because we are now in season, and this is off season and off season, and every one of those actually has a. Is it season or is it off season? It's always a reason why people not show up. Yeah,
it's pretty outside. I don't want to go.
Yeah, right. But we're also in an area where technology is not at the forefront, or it's a lot of tourism, it's a lot of travel, and it's a retirement community. So it's not on a totally high priority kind of thing. So yeah. So when you all said well, except Kathy, said you had a Facebook, you have a Facebook group, and I am contemplating if we should put a Facebook group together, but I'm also a little bit shying away in terms of adding more to the workload of our organizers. Yeah. So,
You're welcome to join ours if you want to. You're close enough that you're.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay will just take over the entire East Coast or something like that.
West Coast, I mean, yeah.
West Coast, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, are you staying, Dreb? Are you staying in contact with your what is happening apart from you posting the events on the Facebook group?
They use it sometimes for if they've got a problem or a question for WordPress. They use the Facebook group for that. If they want to talk about, I need help with a specific project and I'm looking for a developer or looking for a theme designer or something like that, they also use it for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, it works similar to on our end. So our Facebook page also serves as a forum where they can post about WordPress-related concerns and feedback or help in general. But our community here is they're so active in Facebook that it makes sense to cross-post to Facebook. And then sometimes actually they know our Facebook page before they knew about our meetup.com our group. So yeah, it's crazy how everybody's like on Facebook nowadays.
Right. Well, it might change in Europe at least. And I think the United States is not far behind. So, Kathy, are you doing anything beyond Meetup, like an email list or something like that?
Personally, no, I am not. One of the independent groups in town has an active Facebook group, and that seems to generate, as both Dreb and Jim were saying, a lot of questions from users in the community. No, I'm busy. I'm too busy to add another damn thing.
Right. So Jim and Dreb, when somebody asks a question, you as organizers don't have to jump in, yeah? Like it's the community that answers those questions, right?
No, I expect the organizers to do, or the community to do it. Actually, when someone asks a message on our meetup, I have a block of text that or they direct message me. I have a block of text that I immediately push them to that says, go check out our website, go join our Slack chat, go join the Facebook group. The Slack chat is for, again, you've been on Slack, you know how it works. Yeah, we have like a happiness bar in there. We've got like a jobs board, and then we have just a standard channel for meetups. And I also cross-promote in there as well.
Okay, yeah, so that's another avenue to go. Yeah, we do, actually, I started collecting email addresses from the people that attend because quite a few don't come, they just see the announcement, but they don't RSVP through Meetup. So they see the announcement on somewhere, either on Facebook or on in the paper or because of some another organization posted it, but they don't go in, create an account, and RSVP. So we have a sign-in sheet to go around and with email addresses and ask for email addresses and if they want to be on a notification list. And we have a small group of people, but when I send out information about the next meetup, they get it it gets their attention, and they quite frequently show up at the meetup, although they didn't get it through the meetup notification. It seems that there was a little bit of the meetup place in Naples, I'm in Naples, Florida, got a little crowded with all the spam that came out through all the meetups and just creating a meetup so it will be announced to the area and then shutting them down again. It was kind of a really abusive. So a lot of people have either switched off the notification from Meetup entirely, and or left Meetup or haven't even signed up about it. So that's kind of a Meetup kind of thing. Yeah.
I haven't talked to the group about that. I should actually do that because that's a good point you bring up. Is that Meetup itself tends to do a lot of spam on its own. You know, it's constantly it's constantly suggesting other groups in your area, stuff like that, and so your messages to your members might get lost. I didn't think about that. That's a good point.
Have you seen the newsletter coming out from the community team to the meetup organizers?
Yes.
I get way too much.
I have, because I subscribe to all the things. I have this insatiable appetite for knowing everything. But I'm intrigued by the idea of I was going to use the word soliciting, but inviting participants to share their email address. I personally have been reluctant to do that because I didn't want it to appear that I was collecting that for my own benefit, because I'm well known in the area for selling my services of being a coach. And but the way you positioned it and the way you described positioning it, Birgit, is something I'm going to steal, because that's easy enough, I think, for all of our organizers to do. Because we're certainly not unique. I too have noticed that some people show up without having RSVP'd. Some I know, some I don't know. And it's important for me to know everybody's name. And by getting their name and email address would help solidify that connection.
We do a sign-up sheet at our meetups. We actually do a sign-up sheet at our meetup with email address and name, and we put a check mark that say, do you want to join the mailing list? I haven't added it to the mailing list because with all the GDPR stuff, I'm holding off on that until we know for sure.
What part of the GDPR stuff is work?
You have to give them you have to give them the ability to make sure that they can go in to like our website and say, what information do you have on me? Can you provide it? Which would be their name and their email address. And then also have them be able to be removed instantly from the list. And so those basically...
those are, if you use MailChimp or something like that.
We have a MailChimp list and we're going to retailer it. We've been doing it for the WordCamps and it was getting overwhelming. So we're creating a brand new list that's just for each of the individual groups. So.
Yeah. Sorry, you're mute.
I'm sorry, Dreb.
My mouth was moving and I heard no words. I was saying I like that idea a lot. A lot of our promotions are tied to WordCamp Atlanta. And as I mentioned, our meetup organizers are organizers of WordCamp. So I guess in that respect, there is some cross promotion.
Yeah.
So I have to go back to something that you said, Kathy. You distinguish between the chapter meetups and the independent meetups. Do you feel as a chapter meetup, or do your organizers at the chapter meetup feel you're not independent?
Ask me that another way. Well, part of that, I didn't catch every word because my Wi-Fi was cutting in and out.
My question was, do you or do the meetup organizers that are on the chapter program feel not independent enough to do what they want as a meetup organizer?
I think that's a valid question because, interestingly enough, within just, say, the last 2 months, someone approached me, wanted my input on starting a new meetup group. And I went through the whole explanation of how it works and that there's this chapter program and any member of any chapter program can move forward. I spent 3 hours explaining this, and then later on they came back around. They had found a venue that they could do their meetup. They wanted my input on whether the venue would be appropriate for what they had in mind. So once again, I said, this is the way it can be positioned. And next thing I knew, they had spent their money to start a meetup group, began to announce their first meetup group, couldn't understand why it wasn't appearing in the WP dashboard. I came back around again and talked about the chapter program. So they have since filled out an application that I feel certain is not going to be approved as a chapter meetup group because they're 7 miles from one location, one chapter, and 10 miles from the other. Honestly, either I'm doing a really bad job of explaining it, or people have a sense of ownership of their own group.
Why didn't you just make them either a co-organizer or an event organizer for that location, and then they could just go posting on one of your meetups?
I pitched that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said, here's what you can do. You can do it this way, the way you just described.
Yeah.
Or you can start your own damn thing.
Yeah, but
but now that they're not getting the benefits that make, I don't know.
Kathy,
well, they're also not getting benefits up front. Yeah, but
you may be right about ownership. You may be right about the ownership thing, because we had a similar issue with Tampa Bay WordPress, because we have the big Tampa Bay WordPress meetup group that's been around for 10 years. It was originally one person, then it was transition and stuff like that. And we were posting all of our meetups across the whole, Bay Area on that meetup group, but it was a paid group. It wasn't in the charter. WordPress didn't own it. When the whole thing about the dashboard came up, I said, I want my stuff in the dashboard. And so I immediately filled out an application for WordPress St. Petersburg and started the process. And I said, this is what we need to do, guys. We can flip the Tampa Bay one to, the charter, but it'll be just for Tampa. It can't be for the cities, because that's a requirement of WordPress, is that it does have to be city-based. And I got all kinds of flack too in the other directions. And I don't get it. I don't get the ownership thing. But I think that might be the problem. We have a group up in North Clearwater that charges their members to come to their meetup.
Okay, yeah, that's certainly.
And I said that's not allowed. Yeah, you're not allowed to do that. But they're never going to let go of that, so they're on their own and they have their own meetup.
Right. And if it works out for them, I'm totally fine. But I don't think that the independent part is something that is really. So I started taking over a dormant group here in the area, and I immediately, that was 4 years ago, and I immediately joined the chapter program because I wanted the swag, right?
Yes.
I read through
the stuff.
And I read through the good faith rules, and that was perfectly fine with me. And and then I started, and I can say it's an official WordPress meetup, and there was nothing that I couldn't do inside the program as I wanted to do outside the program. Of course, the GPL issues, what you're talking about, non-pitch kind of thing, definitely. But I wasn't, really out to market my business. It actually was for me. It was actually that I could channel all these questions that come to me during the month, say, okay, why don't you show up at our meetup? And we answer it all, and you get to connect with other people, and I got them off my plate, because that's what otherwise you are able to answer questions all over the place. But so, I just wanted to find out what it was.
Well, it's interesting because I'm a co-organizer of a meetup in another state. It wasn't really dormant. It wasn't happening consistently. But I travel to that state. It's where my grandchild lives. And so I am already going there every single month. So I started doing a meetup there every single month. And that's been running for 6 months. And I don't even live in the state. So I'm baffled by the people who live 7 miles from my meetup group, don't want to be part of it. I mean, but I can understand it. My meetup group is called Marietta. Theirs is called Kennesaw. It's
that neighborhood ownership.
The other independent. I don't know.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit about the Middle Ages in Bavaria, where you wouldn't travel beyond the mountain. It's kind of not getting the whole internet part. That you don't want to do something in the next village or marry there or
You kind of had that issue too in Fort Myers too, because there was like someone wanted to do a meetup that was on one side of the city, and then you had the one on the other side of the city.
No, that wasn't the problem. The problem was that he wasn't willing to get actually as a co-organizer on the meetup.
Okay.
He wanted to have his own thing, and he started.
Yeah. That I don't get the ownership thing, because to me it's like you don't own WordPress, so you don't own the meetups.
Right.
I don't own my meetup. I tell them that every time we have our open discussion, more meetups. I say, if you guys want to host a thing to teach like beginning WordPress, because I can't teach it, ask me. I'll make you a calendar organizer, and you can go schedule something and just take care of it. Run with it.
That's a great way to look at that. To look at it. So on the subject of like there's an independent meetups coexisting with the chapter program meetup, for example. So I'd like the community to work together collaboratively. Like if there's if for example in one city there's like 4 meetups, and there's one meetup that is in the chapter program, then that one meetup in the chapter program could be served as the gateway to the WordPress dashboard, because whatever meetup that they're organized, it will show in the dashboard, right? So it's a matter of collaboration and being open. The other organizer as well should embody this kind of characteristic, that they should also willing to work together to create a good community, because a healthy relationship with each other. Right.
Yeah, and pool resources. But I know that Kathy mentioned before that she's doing the same thing with those that are non-chapter groups, to funnel it through so they actually show up on the dashboard. But I just wanted to caution you for that, to just make sure that those meetups that you advertise actually follow the good faith rules, all of them. Before they are actually.
And they do, which is interesting, because I am the face of WordPress, all things WordPress in Atlanta. So all of these people come to me for mentorship.
Right.
And even though they're independent, I've told them that they have to put those good faith practices. Yeah. So we do have, Dreb, as you were describing, a wonderful collaborative environment. I just don't have to pay meetup fees, and they do.
Right.
So,
right. And you get swag.
Right. So I don't know, but it does bring to mind that as a meetup facilitator at my group, I need to be more vocal about, if you and one other person have an idea, this is how it takes place, and begin to be more intentional about shaping those that are to come. The person who has most recently put in their application does not have a denial yet, and so that meant
the backlog.
Well, yes. Plus, geographically, it's just not going to happen. Mm-hmm. There's not enough rationale to put in there.
Yeah. So how are you doing this in the Philippines? Do you have people that come to you and say, I want to do an event, and can I put this on the list? Dreb?
I wish there's some people that approach me and say things about that, say things similar to that. But so far, no. So far, I'm the only person that encourages them. Hey, you want to organize meetup? Just reach out to us. There's no requirement at all, and we are here as well to support you in organizing your meetup in case you have in case you want to create an event that's specifically about this topic or specifically about this kind of target audience. Then go ahead. So it's like we're open to suggestions and to volunteers and to everybody that uses WordPress, anything WordPress.
Mm-hmm. So we have the meetup promotion with the meetup chapter in the dashboard, the chapter meetups being in the dashboard. We have Facebook groups that people were doing. We talked about email lists. And I saw in the chat that that 4 of us have also blogs. Kathy, you don't have a blog, did you?
Not as a meetup, no.
For the meetup group, yeah.
No.
So what are you posting them, Jim or Dreb?
Dreb, do you want to take it first?
Sure. Mostly it's about a recap of our meetup, like how did the meetup go. So these are for those people who didn't make it to the meetup, but they want to like know what happened during the meetup, and kind of grab some slides, talks, sessions, and so we wrote some. We write some recap about that, and also planning, like what's the best schedule for you guys to schedule our next meetup, and also cross-post the meetup itself. like if there's a meetup announcement, that we also create a blog post about it. So that's pretty much it as well. So we don't want to burden ourselves much to kind of like update it on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, because as we all know, we are like volunteering our time here. So it's just whenever someone has the time to draft a post, and if you would like me to revise or to read or to review your post, I'd be happy to do it. But as much as possible, I'm trying to delegate several tasks to different volunteers, so it's not really overwhelming on the main co-organizer, for in this case me, for the Davao. So as much as possible. So yeah.
Okay. And Jim, what do you post?
We don't actually do blog posts. We use the event calendar, and there was an option to use the event calendar aggregator, which pulls out and grabs everything out of Meetup or Facebook or other locations and pulls it into your event calendar. And it actually, they gave us like a free license to the event aggregator as long as we were using it for Meetup and promoted it. So that's what we use, because we have 6 different Meetup groups across the whole area. And I wanted to have like one combined calendar so that folks could easily go one place and see them. Now, what I also do is that after every event, I post the slides and I post the video from the event, and I put that inside the thing. So we have a complete database of all the videos and everything else. So, and I boosted it up with pods to create like extra fields and stuff, and so it's all nicely organized between author and talk and everything else. So yeah.
Yeah, there's we have a website too, and we are not doing, but a lot of blogging there. But when it's really helpful when we do our 6 months topic search, where we look for 10 topics, and most of the time I go to the latest WordCamps and just pick some topics from each section or so, and then put it in a survey, and then have people say they're very interested, or not interested at all, and that survey is going to be posted through the website using Google Forms. And so I can use it also in the email newsletter that I send out, or not newsletter, email messages that I send out, because so those on Meetup as well as those that are not on Meetup can kind of participate. And that's one thing that we post. And once in a while, I'll get to do some WordPress notes, news kind of things when I'm doing it anyway for other places. Then I'll just copy paste parts of it in. But most of the time I do what Dreb and Jim are doing is that we post the session resources that we collected. Yeah. I see that, Kathy, you posted WordCamp Atlanta.
Yes. Several years back, I purchased the domain name wordcampatlanta.org, and I launched it for about 6 months and never wrote the first darn thing on it. So I'm excited about this conversation today. Because I think our community is ready to contribute to it as a team. One of the reasons that I shy away from Facebook and a lot of promotion is because one of my colleagues who has been running his meetup maybe just a year less than I have. I launched a meetup in 2011, and he was right on the heels. He has an active Facebook group, And he also does a lot of what Jim was saying in terms of publishing the meetup materials and slides and videos. And I don't want to step on his toes.
Mhm.
Now, it's clear that he does that as part of his business, even though he's very generous in giving back to the community. So I've been sensitive to that. But I don't want to put any more work on my shoulders. So at my next meetup, I will be soliciting ways for people to get more involved instead of just waiting for us to give them a topic.
I found it a really good way too to make sure that you're getting like speaker requests, and I've got to really push and promote that again, the whole speaker form. But we have like a speaker guidelines, and then we have like speaker topic ideas, and then we have a speaker form, which is kind of like the same speaker form you would use for a WordCamp. And we have that on the website, and we actually got quite a bit of response when we first launched it. Haven't gotten any in a while, so need to keep promoting that, because I think that would help quite a bit, so I'm not the only one speaking.
You that's a good reminder for me too. Yeah, we have a speaker form on the website. And I haven't promoted it at all. Yeah, so yeah.
I think Kathy was talking about it, and I think Dreb was too. How do you guys promote at the end of your meetups, like at the actual physical meetup, cross-promoting other meetups, cross-promoting WordCamp, stuff like that?
Do you want to take that, Dreb?
So the question is, at the end of the meetup, I mean, during the meetup, to be honest, like at the end of the meetup, all I do is my last slide is all about call for volunteers. It's like I'm calling for speakers, co-organizers, or volunteers to maintain the blog, or to maintain the social media, or to contribute back to the community in general in any way. So I kind of like always forget to share news about what's happening in the global community. But I wish. But right now, I think that's also something that we need to do to help promote other WordPress meetups or WordCamps or wherever they are in the community, since WordPress is like a global movement. I shall say that. So.
I actually put most of that information in front of the meetup, just because at the end of the meetup, half of them are already gone or something like that. So, or they are in one-on-ones with others because they found somebody who solved their problem, and that's right now what they want to do. There is no listening going on there. So, but we do the WordCamps, yeah, and we actually brought quite a few people over to WordCamp Miami that have for their first WordCamp, and that was really I was really happy about that. I also, I started, and now that I talk to you about it, see, this is very inspiring to just have a few of other meetup organizers together.
Right, yeah.
Talk about things that gives you a little bit more, not only ideas, but also the reminder, oh, I haven't done that for a while. Well, let's go back there. They're like the speaker session. And one of them is Andrea Middleton. She is on the community team, has been writing newsletters to the meetup, and I think it's only to the organizers, but I need to verify that. So for the website, I probably would cross-post it there as well for those people that are not on Meetup, or because there's some interesting things going on, and augment that with the calendar of the other meetups, WordCamps. Yeah. Yeah, the next newsletter is coming out February 23rd, so it's next week on Friday. No, this week Friday, with some information. So look out in your inbox, kind of. I think it comes through Meetup, so you don't oversee it and can kind of put it in front of your Meetup, other organizers and members.
Yeah.
Well, I know in St. Pete we have to. Oh, I'm on mute. Let me see. I'm not on mute. Okay. In St. Pete, since I've got a space that's hosting us, I always have slides to talk about things that are happening at that co-working space. the other things that they're doing. So that's one of the things I check in with them when I first arrive at the meetup space. And then I also have like a couple other slides right behind it. Talk about our meetup group, talk about the other ones in the neighborhood, and then talk about any WordCamps coming up. So that's how I keep track of it, is in my slides, and I make those slides available for other talkers when they're coming in. So
very good. Yeah, yeah. And I think I will do on that slideshow. I also will do what Dreb is doing, the call for volunteers and the call for speakers with a link to the session submission. So yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. So we don't. So do we have other questions that we want to talk about, or
talking about mailing lists? That's a good one because I haven't used mine in a while. I haven't used the mailing list since WordCamp, and I'm curious about how you guys actually do that. How do you keep it from being overwhelming to the people getting notices and stuff like that? Because I use the meetup announcements, but I don't use the mailing list.
Yeah, I don't post more than twice a month. Yeah, so one is to announce the meetup, the new meetup, and there is no reminder. I have another group where I do actually 6 or 8 reminders, but I don't. But that's only in the other group. It's because we have food there. But in our meetup, WordPress meetup, we don't have food. So I don't care how many people show up or not show up. And they're all adults. They can come when they come. And yeah. So unless I have a volunteer working their butt off, working very hard to put the food together, and I don't want to go to waste, I don't need to know how many people are coming. Yeah, so I can reduce it to just 2 times a month. So one is with the announcement of the next meeting, and one is with a recap if we have a recap, and if it's and if I don't have a recap, I try to schedule it that I can do the newsletter from WordPress Central, so to speak. Yeah, that's all I do. And most of it is actually, if I post something on it's actually in a RSS feed, RSS to email. I don't know, are you familiar with that concept? So if something is posted on the blog, I can schedule once a week or once a month that it grabs whatever is new since the last time it's sent out and sends it out to the subscribers list. So I only have to worry about one medium to post, and it kind of goes out. Yeah. But, and that goes out every week, but there is a week that there are 2 weeks I don't post, so it doesn't go out.
Right, yeah.
How about you, Dreb? What do you do for mailing lists, or do you use yours?
I don't do much with the mailing list, but that is actually something that we need to make use of. But the only tricky thing here is the time. Like I'm not sure how much effort you can add more in adding more because utilizing the mailing list would require another effort again to like thinker or how would you make use of that. But I think what works for your local, that's where you should focus more for your limited time. And not to explore everything.
These are all just offerings. So if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
Yeah. Well, talking about the idea that Birgit had was Birgit. Here we go. I remember her little method. Birgit. Okay. The method you had for the RSS feed from your posts, I think you could use the same thing for the RSS event aggregator, so that when the meetups actually came into the thing, you could include them in the RSS piece. So that's something to look at too. You guys have given me like amazing ideas. So
yeah, and I have done a lot with RSS, even at work. But the biggest problem that I see with if you have an active Facebook group, yeah, you can actually aggregate those posts in RSS. So if you as a Facebook group administrator post something, that can go out to email. You don't have to have the whole group. No, that would be really foolish. Yeah, but I think, or maybe it's just a page. Yeah, if you have a Facebook page, that's. Yeah. I need to think about it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, what other things do we have? Another 10 minutes to go if we wanted to.
We said Facebook, Twitter, email. How about other meetup? Do you guys go to other meetups and like talk about your meetup? That was, I know.
I do.
Okay, you do. Okay.
I try to go to all of the meetups here in the Atlanta area for lots of reasons. One, it's my friends, and I want to support and promote whatever they're doing. The only one that I do not attend on a regular basis is the one that is downtown Atlanta, because I just don't want to go downtown Atlanta after 7 o'clock at night. And
Yeah.
but anyway, so I'm very selfish with that. One of the questions that, or an observation that I would like your input on, I have been an organizer of WordCamp Atlanta for years, I mean, since 2010. And one of the things that I discovered, and I'm wondering if you find it true in WordCamps, that people who attend WordCamps, a lot of people who attend WordCamps have no idea that meetups exist. And a lot of people who attend meetups have no idea what a WordCamp is, which I find intriguing. And I know that it's intriguing to me because I live and breathe WordPress. So I know all the things about all the things, and I'm astounded that other people don't. So is there a way that y'all consciously use your WordCamp opportunities to promote your meetups and vice versa?
Mm-hmm.
We definitely did with the meetups when WordCamp was around. When we were scheduling our WordCamps, we heavily promoted the next WordCamp. At the WordCamps, we have a big banner for the happiness bar, and on it we also list the meetup links and stuff like that as well. So that was one of the things we did to make sure that it was a permanent part of our branding for the WordCamps, was to always have the happiness bar banner also promote people going to the meetups.
I heard what the WordCamp Europe did to the local cities within the Europe continent is some meetups in the cities were actually conceptualized right after the WordCamp Europe. So yeah, so because some participants in the WordCamp Europe didn't know that there is meetup, you can actually create a meetup in your city, and then they went back home to their local city with the idea of, oh, I really want to bring that community into my town. So they created this different meetups in their city. That's what I heard in the WordCamp Europe's.
Yeah,
Yes.
it makes really, and what actually happened, there were quite a few deputies there. And so they had meetup orientation right at the contributor day or during WordCamp, where they signed up people and made the full process, complete the full process in vetting them, and then creating the meetup, and then making them organizer, and then even kind of set up the first meeting. And that's it's very good to do if you have a contributor day. I think it's very hard to do if you don't. Yeah, because if you only have a one-day WordCamp, I think the organizers that are there, it's going to be really hard to do something outside of it. Yeah, because you always have not enough volunteers. So everybody's doing 2 or 3 jobs. But I can see, and even if people cut off the time, the 2 days, all press on WordPress, some of them don't need or can't make face-to-face meetings because of their personal situation. Yeah, so they are also not looking. Yeah, if somebody wants to do regular meetings with other people about a certain topic, I think they go to Meetup and find the people that they want to meet with. But I can see that quite a few just say, okay, oh, I saw this WordCamp and that intrigued me more than doing it every month. Yeah, it might be because it's always at night, and you say you're not going downtown Atlanta because it's at night and traffic is horrendous, and yeah. I also know that a lot of people don't drive at night. So if your meetup circle does not offer during the day events, you get other people during the day that you get in at night. Yeah, so it might not be suitable for a lot of people. Yeah, and sometimes
That's great input.
yeah,
That's good input. A large majority of our meetup groups are from 11:30 to 1, which of course eliminates a huge number of people who have real jobs and
right.
can't attend, you know.
Yeah.
For years, my meetup group was in the evening, and one day it was, I'm tired of doing it at night, and I have the power to do it differently, and I did.
Right.
So out of these 6 to 8 meetup groups in our geographic area, only 2 of them meet in the evening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this conversation gives me some very good ideas about how to promote other opportunities, both for the people who are not involved in the community in terms of participating, as well as soliciting the involvement of people who are in the community and attend regularly, to give them a sense of contribution.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore a different kind of ownership in the meeting. So I'm excited. I have lots of takeaways today.
Excellent.
Nice.
Excellent. Yeah, me too. Yeah, and it was great to see you all in faces, although
I know, yeah.
and it's midnight. Yeah, you're burning the midnight.
Yeah.
Right. On that subject, hopefully next time, or maybe mid this year, we can come up with another time zone for the Meetup Roundtable for the dedicated for the Asia Pacific time zone.
Okay.
So there could be more people can organize for the get in.
Yeah. So in the chat window, I have the session evaluation link. Just click on it and put it on your browser tab, because the link is going to go away from this environment as soon as I end the meeting. Well, thank you very much for participating today in this great discussion about how to promote it, about how to promote the meetups and cross-post it. And I hope to see some of you next week again to March 28th on 1600 UTC. And I don't know what time that is in your time zone, but there are I have them linked in the post, so you can kind of convert that. I think this is the month where everybody changes to daylight time on every different week, different day. So we are all scrambling, and I know I went into some of the meetings of the Slack channels, I think with the editors as well as with the team, where we were either late or early, or it was totally confusing. So make sure that you know when 1600 UTC is next week on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It was first time I met Cassie and Dreb, and I'm very grateful. And
Me too.
yes, thank you for joining us, and see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.